Welcome to the FeelsCast. I'm Adam.
I am also Adam.
And today we're talking about big manga titles or big shonen series or stuff like that.
Like, for example, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, Inuyasha. The list goes on and on.
We're not talking about inuwasha.
No, well,
We're not
I will talk briefly about my foray into the Inuyasha world and how it has ruined me.
That's why I don't want to talk about inuwasha. Also, the fact that I can't pronounce it.
Inuyasha?
Inuwasha.
Inuwasha?
Inuwasha. Welcome to the Inuwasha podcast, where I pronounce Inuwasha wrong for 20 minutes.
I'm only going to say a little bit of Inuyasha. Only that I've watched all of it, and I watched it during my freshman and sophomore year of high school, and I watched it during the time where anime was on YouTube. So, you know how that is.
Watching it in 3 parts.
Watching it in 3 parts, having like all of these tabs open while they all buffer at the same time.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. It was like basically...
Internet in 2005.
It was more like 2006.
Same thing.
No, it's not, because I didn't have internet in 2005. God.
I want to ask, how would you kind of get into some of the big shonen titles that we have? Like, what was your first, like, foray into, say, One Piece or whatever one started it for you?
Technically, it would have been Yu Yu Hakusho and Rurouni Kenshin.
Mm-hmm.
And this was during, like, when Toonami was on air. But when Yu Yu Hakusho and Rurouni Kenshin aired, I didn't have cable at that point. But my friend did. So she recorded those episodes on a VHS
That is the best friend.
Because she was like, you gotta get into this, because this is so amazing. So I was like, okay, sure. So she recorded a couple episodes. I was like, I'm into this. Let me have more.
People in terrible outfits fighting the shit out of each other? I'm in.
Yes. So that was my Yu Yu Hakusho and Rurouni Kenshin start. And that's how my descent into the shonen anime world began.
It's a dark, dark path.
Of course, I had like a 2-year break because after that I had to move to, here.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it's like, oh, we gotta get everything set up, and there's like no cable, no internet, no anything.
So you had a bit of a break in between.
Yeah, I did have quite a long break. It was like 2 years of a break before I finally moved to this house where it's like, oh yeah, reliable internet. Let's go watch some anime.
Let's watch all of Inuwasha.
Yep. That
Inuwasha.
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 Inuyasha.
I started probably with the same stuff, but I wasn't into it. It was just something I liked. It was Toonami. Toonami was just a thing I watched a lot.
Yeah, Toonami had a lot of choices at that time.
Like, I also loved Sailor Moon back then, but if you asked me what was my favorite anime, I couldn't tell you because I wasn't knowledgeable of that stuff.
If you had asked that, like, if we were to be asked at that time, we wouldn't know what anime pretty much was.
Yeah, but
we just knew it was like a show.
I actually remember how I got into, like, the point that created what I am now of the sad weeaboo that stands before you.
Alright.
I went to a different school for 6th grade for half a year, for reasons. And the last day of school, my friend brought in a Shonen Jump.
Oh,
because
my God.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Was on the cover. And we were the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Nerds. Like, we played it, we loved it, we watched every episode of the show. I don't remember 90% of the show, actually, anymore.
I still do.
But he brought it in, I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And there were a ton of other manga in there, too, because it's Shonen Jump. Like, it was a monthly magazine that has just a bunch of manga chapters.
I actually still have some of the old Shonen Jumps, and I think I have the one you're talking about with Yu-Gi-Oh! On the cover. Was it just like Yami Yugi's face?
I actually can't remember what specific one it is, but I know it's before I started collecting them, because the next month I was like, I want this bad, and I started buying Shonen Jump every month until I went to college. So that's 6th grade to freshman year of college.
Damn.
And I own every single one from that period of time.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what got me, like, at first I just read it for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I was like, I don't care about all this other shit.
Yu-Gi-Oh! In the manga was fucked up.
Oh yeah, this was Season 0 stuff. But it was that, and then it was like, oh, they have Dragon Ball Z. I remember Dragon Ball Z. I like Dragon Ball Z. And then, like, they also had One Piece and Naruto. And I started reading those almost exactly from, like, the 3rd chapter in. Like, I missed the first volume of the manga, and then from that point on, it was like everything. And Bleach from the start.
Oh man!
So I was there at the I was into this stuff before it was cool in America.
Quit being a hipster.
I can't help it. It's true.
I remember Shaman King was in there, and I was
so
reading
good.
Shaman King there, and then when I was reading it, on one of the covers it said, it's going to be a TV show. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that freaked me out.
Snap.
I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get to watch this? This is such a good show.
I know. Shaman King was actually not bad, considering it was a 4-kid dub.
It was a good adaptation.
Yeah, it was one of the better ones.
I remember, so, because we have to read One Piece, I was so excited for the One Piece adaptation when it first started. Because I've read it in the manga since the beginning, or since Zoro entered, or maybe Buggy. It was around those early chapters and stuff. But again, because I didn't start trying to jump from issue 1, because I didn't know about it at the time. So, but I was like, I loved it. I was like, oh, it's so cool, and there's pirates, and they stretch, and it's gonna be so much cool action stuff. And as a kid, I liked it because I was a stupid child, and I was like, "This is the best! I get to see my heroes punch things."
Yeah, I mean, like, I think kids are more forgiving that way because, like, we're not too concerned about
adaptations of something.
Yeah, like censoring.
I admit, I was very confused when stuff went differently in the Shonen Jump or in the Shaman King anime because there were some minor differences. I was like, "That's not how that happened." I don't know why. I don't know why Shaman King that pointed it out to me a lot, and not One Piece when I was a kid. But that's something different.
Well, I didn't read a lot of Shaman King in the Shonen Jump because, like, only my cousin had it, and I think he only did the subscription for maybe a year, and I only read whatever was available. So a lot of things were like in bits and pieces. So I watched most of it on 4Kids anyway, and I never read One Piece, but I did start watching it, and I remembered I liked it, but I thought it was really weird, and I really didn't like some of the voices.
That's
like even
really
back
fair.
Then, even back then, I was just like, I kind of don't like all of these voices.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's 4 kids, so it's kind of like when you get older, you're just like, oh yeah, 4 kids.
Yeah, 4 kids. They're bad translations. It's kind of hilarious some of the things they did to get around like Americanization.
Yeah, like
jelly donuts. But One Piece is one of the big manga that's stuck around with us. We got into it as kids, and now, a billion years later,
we're still crying about it?
We're still crying about it.
I still have the feels for the ace.
Spoiler alert, if you don't know One Piece. So, yeah, I gotta admit, of all the big shonen titles that are still going on, or, like, just ended recently, like, counting Naruto, One Piece is probably the best.
One Piece is also, I feel like it's also one of the most successful. Because I think it, like, is number 1.
Oda just won the Guinness World Record for most copies of a manga sold.
Yeah, it's number 1.
Yeah, for one of the One Piece manga. So, yes, it's very successful. Like,
Oda cannot die yet.
I mean, there's a joke in Japan that, like, the dream of any manga author is to get to number 2 on the charts, because number 1 is reserved for Oda and One Piece. Like, hey, I got popular, I'm number 2. That is literally the best I can ever do.
Yeah,
because Oda's still writing.
Yeah, that's realistic.
Yeah. For those who don't know, because I assume there is one person listening to this who doesn't know what One Piece is.
If there is one person listening to this at all.
One Piece is a pirate-based manga about a fantasy world with more oceans than land, and a small child, well, he's like 16 at the start, god, that's weird, decides he wants to become the Pirate King. He's going to find a mythical treasure created by a great pirate, Gold Roger, and he will travel the world, form the best crew, and kick everyone's butt.
All the while eating meat.
Yeah, while eating meat and being a pirate and not a hero. Also, there's a complicated world government conspiracy hiding 100 years of history that have disappeared, and also ancient god-level weapons, and also magical fruit, and also, like, One Piece, I think One Piece is the best. One Piece has amazing writing, because it starts off from this very small circle, and slowly expands it, but
One Piece is surprisingly well thought out, and it has a surprisingly complex world-building system.
Yeah.
And, like, Oda knows
it's
everything about it. He's not, like, just bullshitting like some people do. He's like, oh, okay.
Bleach! Nice. Yeah, Yeah, it's competent world building. It's slow and it seems natural. When something new enters the fray, it's not, what the fuck? There's ancient runes and 700 years of mystery? The fuck's wrong with this? No, it's, oh shit, this is important, but it's not,
and it builds up to it. It's not like you can't go back onto the chapters and read it, because, like, he kind of hints at him throughout the series, and just like, oh yeah, this was important.
He's an actual master of foreshadowing, which is surprising.
Considering how silly One Piece is at the beginning, like you start reading it, and it's like, oh, this is silly. This is kind of fun, and it feels like
it's a kid made of rubber beating the shit out of people.
And I think
that's
awesome. I think it's also a really good manga that like kind of grows with the audience, because it starts out kind of like lighthearted, and then it gets more and more dramatic as it goes on. It doesn't lose its lightheartedness. Yeah, like, you can tell there's still very silly.
Really dumb jokes.
Yeah, Luffy is still Luffy, and it's just like it's very, very lighthearted. But you can tell like there are like a lot more serious themes throughout the series as it progresses.
Leading up until the thing that happened that caused the 2-year break that we don't like to talk about.
Nobody likes to talk about that.
No one likes to talk about that.
I will cry if we do.
The death of...
Welcome to the FeelsCast.
Death of Tubon Clay. So, I mean, I
think he's still alive, though, right?
I don't think it's ever been confirmed outside of the anime, unless I missed something, which is totally possible.
I thought it was in one of, like, the, you know how he does the little chapter openings with, the like, a separate, like, side story during those? I think it was confirmed in one of those.
That makes
not 100%.
That actually makes me really happy. Like, I was like, oh man, that was a sad day in my life. Oh, today just made it a little bit better.
Well, anyway,
One Piece isn't perfect though. Like,
well, no, definitely not.
Oda has trouble drawing women now. He didn't before.
He had his own style, and like I didn't mind it. It's just stylistically different.
Yeah.
But
women are becoming like barbells. Though my favorite story. Okay, so Nami started off as like human looking, and then her bust got progressively bigger, Power Girl style. And I love the reasoning why that I heard. Nami was originally, her design is based off his wife, like very simplistically, but she wasn't exactly like his wife. So he kept drawing her until she was more like his wife. So her bust size is supposed to reflect his wife's. Apparently. Wow. That's like what I heard, and I think that's just really funny. Like, I don't know why. I think that's really funny.
I don't know what to say to that. That's funny, I guess, and weird. Yeah, that's One Piece. So,
one of the other, I actually think one of the, like, there's quote-unquote the modern-day big three. Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. One Piece, and Bleach.
Yeah, that was the big three for basically all of our high school.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of... Actually, no, all of college, too.
I mean, yeah, because they were just... I mean, by the time we got to college, people started seeing the cracks in the armor, as it were. But of the three, I actually think Bleach starts off the best.
It did start off really good. Like, I was into Bleach at the beginning. And then I got out of it after the first arc. And then I heard about all of the bullshit afterwards. And just like, oh, I'm glad I got out of that one early.
Like, Bleach starts off as a story about an average kid who can see ghosts, and that's his only thing. He's not like... He's kind of a delinquent, but he's a good kid, and he has stupid friends, and he goes to high school. And one day, he gets stabbed in the chest by a girl, and he turns into literally a soul reaper. He turns into a guy who finds souls and brings them back to their lives, or brings them to the afterlife.
Yeah,
and it's like a minor battle manga with some high school themes. Back before that, like, was everywhere. And it's like, oh, I can get into this. Like, it starts off with day-to-day stuff where he's like, oh, I gotta help these people, or, oh, this ghost is feeling bad, or this ghost is now a monster trying to kill everyone.
Yeah,
or this girl's trying to get in my pants, and she's spinning a leak around. But the point where Bleach goes wrong is very early on, where Tite Kubo, the author of Bleach, decided, hey, instead of being different, let's make this literally like every other big shonen manga and have a fantasy world. And that is the Soul Society arc, where all the main characters who have powers go to the Soul Society, where all the Soul Reapers live, in order to save the main female character. And from that point on, it's just bullshit wave.
I think, like, he could have kept that and kept it classy, but he didn't.
I mean, I feel like he couldn't. Like, I feel like once he... Like, introducing the concept of the Soul Society isn't bad. Because it's, we knew it existed, we knew Rukia, the main female, talked about it. Yeah, like, kind of doing it like how they have this spirit world in Yu Hakusho. Like, you can introduce it, and it could be something in the back of your mind or whatever. And, like, yeah, that's fine, keep it there. And just leave it there. But he didn't. He kept having... Like, it's because he started building on it. And I don't mean that, like... One Piece built outwards. One Piece, like, started from a thing... And just, the circle just continues growing until it's the size of the world. One Piece exploded, while Bleach imploded. Yeah, Bleach builds on top of itself until it's a precarious stack that's, like, waving in the wind. And it hasn't fallen yet. Well... It's falling, but by falling you mean it ended. It fell. It's shit. Oh, it became shit a while ago. Because after... It became shit during high school, if I remember correctly. I was... asking you, is it over yet? Because it keeps continuing. Every time he ends it, it continues on. I remember, it has to be 3 or 4 years ago at this point, which is bullshit. He said he was ending it, and then it had another chapter. And I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of the epilogue, where the main character, he lost all his powers. Yeah, I remember you telling me this. Yeah. Like, he had no powers at that point. Like, what is there to go on? And then he joined another group, because there's 14 groups of people. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. It's not, like, great, but I could see this being the end of the series. Like, okay, he gets his powers back so he can still save people, and whatever. And then it has another arc. I think what they did with Ichigo is he started out as a decent person, and progressively he becomes more and more of a Gary Stu. What's interesting is that he has minor moments of being an interesting character. Like minor moments. Yeah. Keyword. Where it's like you see, the original characterization flies through. But also it's like, hey, now he's just going Mach 20 and has a giant sword. That's a reference to another show. To another manga that's actually a Shonen Jump manga that's popular right now. Assassination Classroom. Oh, I've seen the cover of that one. I like the covers. It's not bad, but that's a story for a different day. Yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah, Bleach has problems. Bleach has a lot of problems. A good one is Full Metal Alchemist, which I'm surprised didn't really make, like, to the top 3. Because it is really good. It's still in the top... That's because Full Metal wasn't in Shonen Jump at all. Full Metal was its own thing. I guess. It's like, but it's technically a shonen title. It's of the shonen genre. Just because it's not in, like, Viz Media or whatever. I mean, it's not the big 3 of Shonen Jump. It's not... And I would never kind of put it at Dragon Ball levels of popularity. Like, Dragon Ball changes lives. Dragon Ball Z literally, saved people. I'm not joking. Full Metal Alchemist is excellent. It's fantastic, but... I kind of want to say it's too sophisticated to be part of, like, the big 3. No, it's not. No, like, it is actually intelligent. Maybe for younger audiences, but it's still really good, like for a shonen manga. I'm not denying that. Because we're not talking about Shonen Jump, we're just talking about shonen manga. I mean... Or shonen titles. When you talk about shonen titles, you talk about Shonen Jump. No, that's a thing in America. No, Shonen Jump exists in Japan. It does, but is it called Shonen Jump or just Shonen? It's Weekly Shonen Jump. Oh, okay. It's the same thing, except every week. Well, we don't have that anymore anyway. Don't make me sad. Anyway. But yeah, Full Metal. Full Metal's great, because it has excellent character development. It has a good world. It has, like, very decent redemption. It ends with the characters going to Nazi Germany. That's how the anime ended. That's the first Full Metal. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm making a joke. I'm not being serious. Chill. I was like, wait, no, it didn't. Yes, it did. It technically... No, I'm blocking out the first anime because that was weird. Because the first anime ended before the manga continued, so they need an ending. And and it was a really weird one. And we all... Like, I think I remember, like, the point where it branched out into weirdness. This is, like, part of where, I think right after Greed dies, that was right where it split. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is getting weirder and weirder. And then I went back to reread the manga because I was like, this can't be how it ended. Mm-hmm. And then I realized it wasn't over yet. And it was still going on. And it was going on until, like, when did it end? I have no clue. I read the manga after it ended. I know I was keeping up with it until it ended. I was like, oh, this is way better. What the hell was I thinking watching this? The thing that makes Full Metal so different than probably the big three is that its development is more subtle, but also it's very apparent when you read from the first chapter to the most current. Like, it's not just, oh, I have more power now. Like, even One Piece is, to compare Luffy then from the start and now, it's Luffy is now 100 times more powerful.
It's also not, like, a very blatant battle manga. Like, there's very few, like, complicated, stretched out battle scenes. Like, for example, One Piece.
I mean, yeah.
Like, that battle will last literally the entire year, and the battle will not be over.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. But Full Metal is great. If you're looking for, like, decent story writing, decent character development, while also having some action in it, while the action also isn't just, just there to,
be like a show.
Yeah, not like a bait, like, not to lure anyone in, like, just the
action isn't the draw of the series.
Yes, exactly. The action is part of the plot. Like, you need it, instead of, like, saying, oh, everybody needs to fight somebody, so we're gonna bring all of these people in so we can all have one-on-ones. Like, One Piece, Reborn, Bleach. All of them had that.
I forgot about Reborn.
Yeah, that was also another battle manga, basically.
Reborn started off, like, not even that solid because it was a comedy. It was a comedy action manga about a guy becoming the head of the mafia, but not wanting to be head of the mafia. And they just...
Not just a guy... The wimpiest
kid on earth. And then just punched the manga so much with action. It was just like, hey, this kind of half slice of life silly thing? Here, have some battle manga in you. I punched my... It's fine. Just cramming it full of battle manga.
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, like, I remember liking Reborn for a little bit, but then it kind of got, like...
Terrible?
Yeah.
Terrible?
Yeah.
It got terrible.
It was, like, so drawn out, and I'm just like, is this even over yet?
They went... I'll give Reborn this. They have a toy in it, a weapon in the series that was originally a joke. It's a bazooka that can... when you get hit with its missile, you switch with your 10 years forward self. And they actually did a thing where all the characters got hit with it, went 10 years into the future, and they actually got stuck there and had to, like... fight to get back. And that was actually kind of interesting.
That was interesting, and I think after that ended, that was when I stopped paying attention to Reborn.
That's fair.
Because I felt like, after this, you can't really draw me in anymore, because that was the most interesting, and that was as interesting as it was going to get. Mm-hmm. So then I stopped. And then I realized, like, I think, like, literally 2 arcs after that, Reborn ended.
Like, 3 or 4.
Yeah, I was like, okay, at least she knew.
3 or 4 of the same arc.
Yeah, I was like, at least she knew when to end it while it was, still decent.
No, it was not. It went so bad at that point.
At least she didn't do what, Bleach did, where he could have ended it several times.
She actually ended it. I'll totally give her that. Though he doesn't get with the right girl. I'm joking. Like, that's not an important part.
I don't really... Did he actually end it with someone?
No, he doesn't. That's what half the problem is.
Ding.
Anyway. So,
I think the joke we used to have was like, Kubo it's not his choice to keep on going with Bleach. It was the editors, because they're like,
Taikubo is locked in a room somewhere being forced to draw, and the editors are just beating him like, you will keep making One Piece. He's like, I want to go back to you will keep making Bleach. He's like, I want to go back to Zombie Powder. That was interesting. And they're like, no, you write what we want you to write.
Bleach is bringing in the money.
I feel so bad for that man.
I don't.
He wears stupid glasses. So, if we're talking about some of the big shonen titles, we have to talk about the one that ended most recently. Naruto.
Believe it.
Oh, God. We were all Narutards. We were all Narutards. If you pretend you weren't in during that age, you're lying to yourself.
I watched all of the fillers.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped watching it after they brought Gaara back, though. So
I tend to read the manga more than watching anime. I read the manga up until the beginning of... I read the manga up until they brought Gaara back, and a little bit after that. Like, I remember they teased something in the anime, or like it might have just been a commercial or something, where Naruto meets Sasuke, and then they go back a while, and that's like they start Shippuden, and that, like, I read up until that. Then I took a break where I just kind of like half kept informed of what was happening, and then I started reading at the Ninja Zombie War.
I think I stopped during the Zabuza arc.
The second Zabuza arc?
First one.
Whoa,
I stopped really early on. Like, I stopped reading it really early on.
Alright, so Naruto, if you don't know, about one of the biggest cultural phenomenons of our time.
Who doesn't know Naruto in America? Like, seriously.
I'm sure there are
like,
children.
people who don't read or watch anime know what Naruto is.
Well, okay, it's about a ninja world, because everything's ninjas, and there's this kid who has a giant demon trapped in his belly, and has no parents.
And wears an orange
And his parents are dead.
And he wears an orange jumpsuit, because, you know, ninjas wear orange.
I mean, he's not the only dumb ninja wearing dumb clothing.
It's true.
Like, ninjas is just a job in this world. It's not about being stealthy all the time.
It's true, if you have a point.
He hangs out with a girl who wears bright red.
She does!
She does!
And she has pink hair!
Stop blaming Naruto for having stupid clothes choices.
It's just pink hair!
He doesn't have a family. He's a stupid child who grew up poor and alone. She has a family and she's dresses stupid.
You're right! Soccer, what the fuck?
Ino wears purple.
At least it's like a dark purple.
No, not at first.
Not at first?
It's like a regular purple.
Really? I thought it was like a darker purple.
It's the purple of your phone, which is a lilac purple.
No way.
Alright, before we start yelling at each other about Naruto again, because that's going to happen a couple of times. So it's basically a kid trying to become a ninja, and he wants to be the best ninja in the world, because then he'll think everyone will actually respect him and treat him like a decent human being. Naruto actually has some deep hidden layers in it, which the manga creator actually mentions that it's there on purpose. Like, as a kid, I thought I was reading too much into it, where I was like, wow, Naruto's, like, actually really depressed, but, like, hides it. But I was like, oh, no, I'm a kid, I'm just reading way too into this. Oh. And then I found out, like, Naruto has this big theme about brotherhood, that, like, brotherhood through not being related with someone. Like, finding someone who...
Like a family of choice.
Yeah, which is the Naruto-Sasuke story. And
oh, wow!
Yeah, it's this actually kind of touching story that he wrote, but it's surrounded by all this ninja bullshit that if you don't get that, you think, oh, it's just ninja bullshit. But, like, he actually said people who understand this story are really touched by it, which is something I think is cool.
I don't hate Naruto. I hate
bits of Naruto.
I hate, like, the things surrounding Naruto. Like, I guess the paraphernalia and everything that surrounds the Naruto fandom.
I mean,
the Naruto fandom scares me.
I mean, they've mostly that nation has mostly disappeared. It's now just older people like me who are like, man, I really like Naruto. I wish it wasn't as shit.
I wish it wasn't as shit.
The reason I think everyone got into Naruto wasn't because of the opening story or anything like that. It was the Zabuza arc, where Naruto and his team go on a what's supposed to be a simple mission to escort a bridge builder to to his home, and it actually becomes this deep story about this ninja and this, like, he has assistant who's like the assistant treats himself as like a slave almost. So he's like, I will do anything for this man because he has saved my life, and I will worship the feet the ground he grows on. And then it ends with like both of them dying, and it's really touching because Haku the assistant dies first, and Zabu's like, fuck this, I'm gonna murder all y'all, and ends up killing a bunch of assholes, and then he dies because like he was about to die anyway, and the snow falls and there's a tear. Like,
it was very touching.
It was
like, I know my
well done. It was the most well done arc I had seen as a
my
child.
12-year-old self was crying.
Like, Naruto was amazing back then. Naruto, that shows the potential of the writer. That arc is what sold people on Naruto.
Naruto still had like bits and pieces of like interesting parts throughout the series, but it wasn't ever as well done as the Zabuza arc the first time. I don't know anything afterwards because it was kind of like a lot. There was a
lot
of things to get through.
There was the Ninja Zombie War, and Zabuza came back and then died the same way.
Are you kidding me?
Not even joking.
Wow, that's lame.
Well, he comes back and he gets his sword back, which I think is hilarious because a dude stole his sword at some point. And so he gets his sword back, and Haku jumps in front of him before Kakashi's about to kill him, which is exactly what happened in the first arc. Yeah, and it's stupid, but again, it's a ninja zombie arc.
Well, Naruto.
And then it ends with them fighting Princess Kaguya. That's not a lie.
They fight the princess on the moon?
Yes. Well, kind of. Ninjutsu is actually alien DNA. This isn't a lie. This is what Naruto ends with. Also, the gayest scene ever written in anime.
I wouldn't say the gayest.
No, okay, outside of, like, gravitation or, like, actual gay fucking, the scene where Naruto and Sasuke lying there after beating the shit out of each other.
I just have one anime title to point out. Number 6.
Okay. But their stumps, the blood running off their stumps, leads to them pulling together like they're holding hands.
They didn't kiss on screen.
They don't need to, they're brothers. Sakura wears stupid clothing too.
Okay, goodbye, everybody. Alright, hold on. Before we leave.
Sorry, but yeah, Naruto really changed. Like, Naruto was a big formula thing of our lives. So was One Piece. So were all these titles. Like,
all these titles had some way connected to our past in some sort of form, shape, whatever. And we've really related to it, and we've had a lot of
fun with it. Like,
fun.
That's why we can have dumb arguments about Naruto, because we actually we like have fun with it and kind of respect it.
Yeah, Naruto's not bad for what it is. I still think it could have been not, drawn out so long, I guess.
Oh yeah, but you could honestly make that argument for One Piece.
Oh yeah, I wish One Piece wasn't this long. If it was over, I would just be so happy, but at the same time, I'm just like, I need to know more.
When One Piece ends, Fallout 3 or Half-Life 3 is announced.
Wow. That's a joke I don't get.
Good job.
Anyway.
So, any kind of recommendations of things we haven't talked about?
One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho.
I said things we haven't talked about, but okay.
We didn't really talk about Yu Yu Hakusho in depth. So.
Okay, fine, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah, Rurouni Kenshin. Literally my favorite manga of all time.
My second favorite. Maybe third. It's up there, but I never finished it. But
the title that we didn't talk about, but probably should have, and we'll actually have just its own podcast one day, Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Hunter x Hunter, because that is... We're going to have just, like, Hunter x Hunter podcast, because we're going to be, like, despairing.
Yeah.
Grieving about Hunter x Hunter.
I want to talk about the scene where the clown gets an erection in front of the two children,
and
it's hidden by the bird bubbles.
Swing.
Oh, God.
I hate Hisoka, but I love Hisoka.
So, yeah,
right.
this was the Shounen podcast.
Yep, goodbye. We're done.
This was the FeelsCast.
This was very much the FeelsCast.
I'm Adam.
I'm also Adam.
Have a good day.